What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're talking about the biggest stars in the UFC. That's right, there's a lot of stars in the UFC. There's a lot of guys that draw pay-per-views, there's a lot of guys that draw fan interest every time they fight, and there's some of them that don't draw heaps of fan interest right now. They're not massive pay-per-view salesmen, but they do have the potential to be stars in the future. So I've got 5 different tiers ranging from top 5 star in the UFC all the way down to no star potential or little star potential. And yeah, I'm going to be talking about 25 different UFC fighters. Not saying these are the 5 biggest stars or anything like that, but these are just the representatives that I chose that I thought fit well into some of these categories that I have here. You guys let me know in the comments if you think I missed anyone really notable. I probably did. I wasn't really thinking about it too intricately of like, oh, maybe I'll go with this guy. I kind of just went off the top of my head. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, but like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let's get into it. So we're starting off with Mr. Sharma himself. I think Alex Pereira right now is a top 5 biggest star in the UFC. I believe that's the case. Just look at the fucking reception this guy gets. Look at how much interest this dude gets. He headlined MSG, headlined UFC 295, headlined International Fight Week. So he headlined MSG, headlined UFC 300, headlined UFC 303 International Fight Week. He headlined UFC 287 with Adesanya, headlined the previous year's MSG. This dude has headlined fucking like 5 or 6 pay-per-views. He co-main evented 291 in Salt Lake City. This guy's just speed running fucking UFC Hall of Fame careerness. He's already there. Like, if this guy retired today, he'd be in the Hall of Fame for sure. But I think this guy's one of the most popular fighters with the fans, which that's obviously a massive part of being a star. He draws the casual interest. He's a big star with the hardcore fans as well. You see, this dude was on fucking tour in Australia. You think you can just get any old fighter to go down on tour in Australia and just get like such a big turnout? And go around every part of the country to every state in Australia and just get everyone flocking there to just shake hands with them and take a photo. Like, there's a lot of guys that could do that, but I think Pereira's gonna be one of those dudes that gets such a big turnout. He's selling pay-per-views, he's breaking gates, breaking like attendance records, all of that. So yeah, Alex Pereira, I believe, is the top 5 star in the UFC right now. I'm talking about current fighters, of course. Let's move on, though, to the next fighter. Next up on the list, I'm going with Charles Oliveira. I think Oliveira is a massive star. I would not quite put him as a top 5 star in the UFC, but I do believe he is a massive star. This guy draws fan interest everywhere he goes. This guy was the fucking biggest reception of any fighter in Canada. This dude was getting so many cheers when he fought Beneil Dariush over in Canada at UFC 289. I think the losses recently, the loss to Islam, the loss to Arman, has hurt him a little bit in terms of that hasn't like taken anyone away from being a fan of Charles Oliveira. Like, him losing those fights doesn't mean people stopped being a fan of him, but maybe it prevented him from getting that extra boost of like people seeing him fight Islam. And then if he won that, I think he would have gained a bit more star potential. If he smoked Arman at UFC 300 and had a massive promo on the biggest card of the year, definitely would have got even more, a bigger star potential. But just as a champion, or as a non-champion, sorry, there is a limit. Unless you're like Conor, there is a limit for most of the non-champion fighters. I think Oliveira is still a massive star, but I wouldn't quite go as far as saying top 5. But let's move on to the next fighter. Next up on the tier list, we've got Kamaru Usman. I still think Usman is a big star. You know, we saw how, like, what the fan base thought when they saw that, like, Roku documentary or whatever, and when it's like seeing, they bring up Usman, they're like, bro, where's Usman? Want to see Usman back? The level of excitement, the fact that people were arguably more excited for Usman versus Hamza than Costa definitely shows Usman's a big star. And obviously he's got that former champion. He's like one of the best welterweights of all time, 5 title defenses. He's going to be a big star regardless. I do think not having the belt definitely takes away from him a little bit, but this guy, and the reason why I say this is because you could chuck this dude on a pay-per-view and it instantly makes it like so much more stacked. Like, there's been some mid-ass pay-per-views, but like, imagine like 301 in Brazil. Imagine how different people would have talked about that card, even if it had the same main event. Imagine if they put like Usman versus like Paulo Costa on there, or like Usman versus like Gilbert Burns 2 or something like that. Imagine they'd just done, like, practically that doesn't really work, but like, just, you know what I mean? If they'd done Usman versus just some random Brazilian welterweight or middleweight, even if they're not a massive star, Usman's a guy that adds value to a card. We saw that with 294, how he, like people said, he saved that card. Obviously Volk did too, but Usman saved that card as well. And I do think he's still a very big star in the UFC. But let's move on to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, Diego Lopez. Now, star potential. This guy is not right now one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Like right now, this dude cannot main event a pay-per-view. I mean, he could co-main event in cases, but like, let's be honest, if they'd just done the Dan Ige fight as like, if that was the initial booking and they'd like, oh, and the replacement fight saving UFC 303 is Lopez and Dan Ige, we all would have been like, yeah, it's not really saving it. Like, we're excited to see Lopez fight, and that's why I say star potential, because if this guy goes out and then gets another big win on like the Sphere card or something, if he had gone out there and smoked Ortega, he is then like a top 5 name at featherweight, one of the like most exciting names in the lower weight classes, and I still think he is that regardless, but he's got a little bit to go. But this dude definitely in the future, like if he keeps winning, if he goes out there and beats like Ortega or Yair Rodriguez or something like that in his next fight, and then fights for like a belt, even if he loses, like he's got the potential for people to like be excited. Like, people aren't going to be hyped up to see Movsar Evloev fight for the title. No one's going to be hyped up to see Arnold Allen fight for the belt. Diego Lopez brings that energy. He's popular with the fans. This guy got a massive reception at 295. He got a massive... Since that Evloev fight, he's been... I think that's the attitude that fans like. And that's why he's got such star potential, because he's over with the fans. The fans love him. The fans appreciate what he's doing. And yeah, he's fighting on all these big cards and putting in good performances. So yeah, Diego Lopez, definite star potential for him. Let's move on though to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, Balal Muhammad. Dana, please, just give me my shot. This dude is low star potential, little star power. He's literally the second or third. He's like the number 2 ranked welterweight in the world, and no one gives a fuck about this dude. Like, he's fighting for the belt, and like hardcore fans are excited for it, I guess. But like the whole meme of Balal is just like, God damn, this dude's boring. And by that means, like, pretty much everyone in the fucking fan base knows him. But no one's going to be, like, excited to turn on their TV to watch Balal. No one's going to be paying for a pay-per-view with, like, a Balal main event. Like, I'm going to pay for the pay-per-view for 304 because it's actually a really good card. But that's not because of them. That's because Aspinall and Blades, Paddy and Bobby Green, Cap and Makhachev, all of that. Balal is just not a star. He should play into it a little bit and just, like... I think he kind of is doing that to try and get a bit more star power on his side like Aljo did. But even Aljo had to rack up like 2 or 3 title defenses to even like get somewhat over with the fans and actually get a reaction apart from just boos. Like, when he fought at 300, that's like the first time we've ever seen this guy not get booed. It's like, they're like, finally, you're not the champion, so we don't have to put up with you. We'll cheer you now. But let's move on to another fighter. Next up, Hamza Chive. I might be overrating this, but I'm actually putting him in top 5 stars right now. So I'll come back to this at the end of the video and kind of, you guys can debate me about if you think someone's a bigger star. And I know amongst like the hardcore fans, I do think like we appreciate like Max Holloway more, Charles Oliveira more, these other guys. We like these other fighters more than Hamza in terms of, but I think it's undeniable. Everyone is super excited to see this guy fight. The reaction when this guy doesn't fight is like, bro, when are we seeing this guy fight again? Like, I don't hear people saying like, I need to see Colby back in the cage, or I need to see Jones back, or even Conor. I'm not saying Hamza's a bigger star than Conor, but like people, I think it's actually gotten to the point with Conor where people are just kind of sick of it. And maybe it'll happen with Hamza. Maybe it'll get to the point where people are just like, you can't want what you haven't fucking had in ages, like, and people are just gonna feel like, okay, I haven't fucking, what does Hamza fighting even fucking feel like again? Like, I forgot. But he did fight in October. Now, he hasn't fought since, and he probably isn't gonna fight till this October, so it probably is gonna be a fucking year break. I'm thinking of doing like a UFC fighter, like, inactivity tier list, or like a who's the most active fighters in the UFC, and then do like active fighters and then inactive fighters. I'll definitely put Hamza in the inactive section. But fans do want to see this guy fight. Fans are disappointed when he pulled out. Fans, they want to see Hamza. There's an undeniable buzz, there's undeniable hype when this guy gets in the cage, because he still does have that potential, and it's like turning into that what if, and we want to know if we can actually see that reality play out. If we can see the what if play out and we don't have to wonder, that's why we want to see Hamza in the cage. Maybe I'm over exaggerating this. Maybe he's like a top 10, not quite top 5, but we'll compare at the end of the video and I'll see who I think I should have put above him. But let's move on to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, we've got Max Holloway. I think he's a massive star, clearly. Now, this is another one of the ones where like you could say he's top 5, because after that Gaethje knockout, This dude's star power is at another level, so maybe I should put him above Hamza. That is definitely arguable. I won't be upset if you believe that. Holloway, though, he's not the champion. Like, he's the BMF champion, but he's not an undisputed champion, which definitely takes away from it a little bit. He did kind of lose a bit of, not much, but he lost a little bit of, like, the aura and the star potential with those losses to Volk. And then, you know, with the Allen fight, with the zombie fight. Look, we're excited to see him, but, like, this dude's main eventing fight nights. This guy's not, like, a mainstay on pay-per-views. Not to say he couldn't be. Not to say that this dude doesn't deserve to be co-main eventing or main eventing pay-per-views. But it's like we were kind of just okay with main event fight night Holloway, you know, fucking wherever he fought Allen, arena main event. He fought, like, Apex main event against Yair, Apex main event against Cater, Apex, Singapore main event against Zombie. Like, they're exciting fights, don't get me wrong, but it's not like this dude is just constantly on the big stage. This is probably, like, a retarded statement to make, I'll be honest. I'm kind of sounding stupid here. Not saying Holloway's not a star, but I think he's, like, and even amongst the casual fans, I think they owe, like, I know casual fans knew Max Holloway, but I think, like, casual fans weren't like, oh my god, we need to see Max Holloway, this guy is the best fighter ever, until they saw the Gaethje knockout. So now he's definitely increased his star potential, or star power, I should say. I'd say he's, like, at the number 6 spot, to be honest. I believe maybe you could put him in number 5. There's definitely an argument, like, we'll see. Maybe he fights Ilya and he just comes out as fucking hot as white iron or some shit like that. I don't know if that's even a saying. He just comes out with the biggest star, like the biggest fan pop ever. He's just the most fan favorite fighter ever. Everyone's cheering for him, and he just looks like the fucking biggest star to ever exist. But for now, I'm gonna put him here. Maybe you can put him up, but yeah, that's my very poorly explained argument for the Max Holloway pick. Let's move on though to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, Volkanovski. I'm putting him as a big star. I think Volk is still a big star. Now, maybe you say there's other guys that I don't have on this list that you would put above him, and I can see it. But again, people said that 294 was saved when Volk stepped up. People are excited to watch this guy fight. He was the champion until one fight ago. People are still looking forward to his next fight. I think some people are dreading it a little bit, but that he has interest. Now, maybe, like, the very casual fans are not super knowing about Volk, but he's, like, kind of become a bit of a meme in a good way. Like, the Volk stepping in on short notice thing, that's become a meme. Like, that's become something that now even the casual fans are seeing. Because when you make it to, like, Instagram reels, like, that's when you know the casual fans are going to start seeing you, because most of the Instagram, like the UFC Instagram reels, are all dedicated towards casual fans. Like, you ain't seeing no fucking Instagram reels about, like, Roman Kopylov or some shit like that. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you're just that fucking in it. Like, maybe your Instagram is just that locked in to UFC. But most of the Instagram reels and stuff, most of the social media stuff that you see is all the casual. That's what the casual fans are seeing, and the casual fans are seeing the Volk on short notice memes. Like, the casual fans are appreciating Volk. They're, like, a lot of them like him. He's got the fan base in Australia. He's got he's got a big fan base pretty much everywhere. Everyone just respects him, and it was one of those. He did not just become a star overnight. He did not just win one fight and become a superstar. He's still not a superstar, I'd say, but what Volk's had to do it the hard way, and that's why people respect it. Similar to Usman. Volk just had to fucking grit down and put in work and put in title defenses, and then he's got the respect of the fans. So I think Volk's not like a crazy big star, moreover than he's just a big name in the sport with a lot of respect. But let's move on to another fighter. Next up, we've got Peyton Talbert, the real O'Malley, according to Lucas Tracy. But yeah, Peyton Talbert, definite star potential. Definitely one of the future stars of the bantamweight division, future stars of the sport, I would say. This guy's got a really sick fighting style to watch. He's got some decent personality. Dude's actually kind of funny. Like, sometimes he sounds like a bit dead. Like, sometimes he sounds like he just can't be fucked to talk, which is fair enough. But he's good. He's pretty good on the mic. He's clearly over with the fans. They were excited to watch him fight. And get this, dude, do not make this man fight in the fucking Apex anymore. That's how you don't build stars. You got to build stars by putting them in the arenas, not in the fucking Apex, because he can get some highlight reel performances, but guess what? The casual fans that saw him knock out Giannis Gamoy, those casual fans did not see him put a beating on Cameron Simon and put on one of the best performances of the year. They only saw him because he's in the arena. The casual fans do not watch the Apex fights. So yeah, Peyton Talbot, definite star potential. Let's move on though to another fighter. Bruv, I promise you I'm a star, bruv. Just that's 9 fights in a row, bruv. How not a superstar yet, bruv? Leon Edwards, you're not a star, buddy. You've got the fucking personality of paint. of just drying paint on the wall. That's your personality. That's your charisma. You got the personality of a wet rag, of a wet cloth. So yeah, Leon Edwards. Look, we know he's a highlight merchant in terms of that one head kick. He's like a career highlight merchant. You see that one fucking clip, playing. You'll see a Leon Edwards edit. It's the head kick. I'm stumbling over my words like Curtis Blades. It's just that one head kick, and you're seeing 17 fucking different angles of it in one edit. And then you just see like Leon Edwards screaming with the belt. I guarantee you've never seen any. You cannot make an edit out of every Leon Edwards fight. The only Leon Edwards edits you're saying that aren't him head kicking Usman is him getting rocked by Diaz. You don't see Leon Edwards edits of him fucking leg kicking Colby at range or leg kicking RDA at range. You're not seeing those. You're not seeing those clips in the edits. You're just seeing 12 different angles of him head kicking Usman. So yeah, he's definitely got that on him. He's got that going for him. He's got the fan base in England, I guess, but I think the fans in England, they're not as attached to him as they are with some other guys. And in America, this guy's not a draw, really. He just got booed against Colby. And everyone, it's never a good thing that everyone's memeing your next fight and saying, no one's going to buy this. This is the worst title fight ever. That's just not a good thing. But let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up, we've got Bonesman Jones. Hey, Bluos. But Jonathan Jones, even though we don't like him, even though he's ducking Aspen, all the casual fans, he's still one of the biggest stars in the company right now. I think he's a top 5 star right now. His fights just draw. The Stipe fight means nothing to us, but it's still going to draw. Casual fans love Jones. You'll see the casual Jones fans literally on his meat every fucking day on Twitter saying that this guy's not ducking Aspinall and in fact fighting Stipe is the best move and it makes sense. Yeah, he's definitely a star. I don't really need to explain it. He draws. The Garn fight drew. It was big. He's getting Dana White on his dick, just hock-tooing on that shit on every fucking podcast and every post-fight press conference imaginable. So yeah, Jones, he's a star. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, Ilio Topuria. Fuck is he talking about as well, little midget retard. Reminds me of a little midget retard Adam Lobov. Topuria. They can't even spell your name right. Ilio Topuria. No, he's a big star. Look, maybe he shouldn't be here right now. Maybe this is like preemptively kind of thinking ahead. But when the UFC goes to Spain, this dude is going to look like a fucking megastar. Like, you cannot, that is not the same for every country. You cannot, Oliveira in Brazil, undeniably popular. You could get Cyril Gane in France, that he's getting the fucking Je vous plaît, son nom est bonjour, je m'appelle, chez l'avion. He's getting those Frenchies fucking cheering for him, but Volk in Australia, definitely over as fuck. Ilia Topuria in Spain, I don't know for sure, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they come out there and then he's getting some fucking golf claps, but I feel like this dude is going to get the biggest reception that we've seen for a single fighter in recent UFC history. This is going to be Conor in Ireland type shit, I think, when he goes over there. I was about to say the end one. This guy is... Edit that out. This guy is getting photos with fucking Real Madrid. This guy is getting photos with, Spanish fucking leaders and Spanish sports stars and everything. This dude grew... did you see this motherfucker's Instagram follower count before and after he beat Volk? This guy is crazy level starter. Maybe in America he doesn't have the biggest levels, but when this guy fights Holloway, and if he beats him, which I think he will, his next fight's probably going to be in Spain, and it's going to be a crazy fucking scene to watch. So yeah, Ilia Topuria, we'll see how he goes, but I do think this guy's got potential to be. So maybe I should move him down one spot, because arguably it's potential, because but it's not really, because I think he's there right now, but it's more about put him in Spain, and we'll see the full extent of this star potential. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Colby Covington. Now, I do think this guy's lost his star potential, a bit of it, his star power. I do think he probably was in the lead up to that Leon Edwards fight. I'd say he was, second tier. He was massive star. But since then, the fans kind of got sick of him. They realized his shtick. They stopped just meat riding him just because he says shit that they politically agree with, because he just regurgitates everything that Trump says in his speeches and doesn't really know anything about politics. I said it, yeah, it's just true. But Colby Covington, definitely still a star. This guy's still going to draw, like, big numbers. He's still going to draw, like, big traffic in terms of, like, social media. And, like, this guy will say something, he'll get a viral clip going, and there's another brain-dead fan who'll be like, funny Colby. And then they'll love him again. So that's what'll happen. Colby's still got that. He's still got that capability, even though it's completely manufactured interest. But let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, Bo Nichols. Star potential for sure. Dana's going to keep meat riding this guy. Dana's going to keep feeding this guy cans and put them on live pay-per-view and then make us pay for Bo Nickel, even though we're not paying for Bo Nickel. But eventually, like, people were talking about, he does well on the mic. Like, this guy was saying that the UFC called him up and asked him to fight Whittaker. They totally didn't do that. I swear to God, there's no chance. If they did, then dude's like, oh, sorry, I was in the mountains. I couldn't take the call. I totally would have fought him, by the way. You would have got slapped, buddy. But yeah, Bo Nickel, you can tell the UFC's behind him. He's got that wrestling fan base. So yeah, he'll definitely be a star in the future. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. I am so tired for this, you guys. I am so happy, you guys. Are you proud of me now, Dad? Are you proud of me? No, I like Pantoja, but he's not the biggest star. The whole thing of everyone was like, bro, how is this midget, how is this victim weight main eventing a pay-per-view against Urseg? Fair play to him, he's doing well for himself, and he's a company guy. He's an active fighter. He's going to be fighting Kaya Sakura. That's what I've been told by my sources, previously reliable sources. So expect that fight to get made, probably for the Salt Lake City card, but not guaranteed. But Pantoja, right, he's definitely putting in work, and I do think if he keeps putting in work, he can get some more fans, but this dude's not going to be a massive star. This guy's not going to draw 200, 300, 400, 500k pay-per-view buys on his own without another massive fight on the card. Like if you put like the 302 card underneath him, even with Strickland Costa as the co-main, this guy's selling like 150k buys, I reckon. Maybe more, because Strickland, I don't know how much 302 sold, but like, yeah, this guy's not selling a crate. Like, if you put this guy as the main event on the top of the 297 card with the Bueno Silva co-main event, that shit is selling 100k buys. Maximum. Let's move on, then, to another fighter. Back to the top tier, and we've got Gisrael Adesanya, the last dog bender, gender bender himself, gyno bender. There's so many, like, different play on words you can use for this guy. But Izzy, we don't like him, but he's same with Jones. They're scumbags, but they are definitely big stars. Izzy's got that brain-dead TikTok 13-year-old, somewhat, like, in the closet transgender fan base, that touches dogs, probably. But, if you're an Izzy fan and you don't touch dogs, let me know. If you're an Izzy fan who is straight and doesn't touch dogs and doesn't watch anime and doesn't have just the weird urge to just be fucking awkward socially, are you really an Israel Adesanya fan? I don't think you are. So yeah, Izzy, definitely, he's got that brain-dead fan base. He's definitely got the people that do like him. And even the people that don't still will pay to watch him. They'll still be rooting for him that much to lose. So it's like, the thing about being a star, or like star power, is how strongly do people really feel about you. Like, people are not like clamoring at the bits to see a fucking Leon Edwards fight, but people are gonna be fucking in the, like, on the edge of their seat, butterflies fucking watching Izzy and Drickus, because they'll be rooting heavy either side. There's not going to be that many, like, neutral watchers there. They're like, I don't really care. Like, that, you don't want people not caring who wins when you fight. You'd rather them be rooting for you to get knocked the fuck out than them be like, if this guy wins, whatever, and then when you win, they just be like, cool, good win. Like, that's not what you want. You want them to be like, fuck this dude, why did he win? I hate this guy. Like, you'd prefer that. But Izzy, big star. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, Dustin Poirier. Karma's a bitch, man. Don't count them chickens, Dan. How about that, Dan? Dustin Poirier, El Diamante, definitely a big star. Maybe he could have gone top 5, arguably. It's kind of hard to tell. Let me know in the comments, who do you think is the biggest star out of Oliveira, Holloway, and Poirier? Let me know. But Dustin Poirier, definitely a big star, definitely a draw. After that Conor fight, after the wins against Conor especially, obviously, he's become a massive star. Oliveira fight, big, like that drew in his title fight, Islam fight, Chandler, Gaethje, all of this. He just draws big interest every time he fights. He arguably could be a top 5 guy, maybe. But Dustin Poirier, definitely a big star. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up, we got Sean O'Malley. Imagine being a hater. That would suck so bad. Sean O'Malley, not everyone has to be a fan of you, buddy. But look, Sean O'Malley's got the cringe tick. Like, Izzy's got, like, just a weird, like, closeted fucking cringe anime fan base. O'Malley's got, like, the kick streamer, watches Neon regularly, watches Aiden Ross fan base. Like, that's O'Malley's fan base. Because they're like, oh my god, dude, he smokes weed, dude. This guy's fucking awesome, dude. That's the O'Malley fan base. And they do like him and they are excited to watch him fight. I see O'Malley edits all over my fucking Instagram reels. But in terms of pay-per-view sales, which is definitely an element of stardom, I don't think this guy does it. They had to stack the fuck out of that Miami card. Poirier was arguably the biggest draw of that card. So O'Malley, definitely a big star. If he goes out there, smokes Merab, KOs him. This guy, because like getting the belt was what really elevated him, because like he was in that star potential tier all the way up until like really the Yarn fight. Yarn fight, he probably becomes like a big star. Aljo fight, I would say he went into massive star, and then I think he kind of dropped back down a little bit. People kind of stopped really caring. Like that was the peak. That was like, oh, what the fuck, O'Malley's champ. Kind of dropped back down a bit, but if this dude goes out there and just sleeps Merab, then yeah, I think he's back to massive star category. But let's move on to another fighter. Sit down, shut up, and do what you're told. Ian Gary, I'm going to go sit in the corner and you're going to watch. Or I'm going to watch. That's Ian Gary. How's my impression? It's really difficult to make my voice go that high-pitched. But Ian Gary, he still has star potential. Now, it's decreasing by the fucking minute because every time this guy fights, he manages to make himself not even more dislikable. He's already just a prick. But it's like, he went from like unlikable, like people fucking hated him against Magny, right? Everyone's like sick of this dude. But at least he put on a performance. He made a name for himself. That was his real coming out party. And I'm not talking about the Jones type of coming out. But then the build up to 296, that was his opportunity. Lucas Tracy made 13 videos on the dude. He was frothing at the fucking mouth, talking about Ian Gary and how much of a star he can become. And then he kind of fumbled it because he had so much attention on him about all the WAG stuff, about all that. Guru, Strickland, everyone was after him. And he had the whole fan base hated his guts, right? If he just shown up there and gone out there and put a fucking beating on Luque, which seeing how Luque did in his next fight against Buckley, definitely would have done. If he'd gone out there 30-24 or 30-25, Luque just whooped him up or finished him and then just gone on the ground and go, sit down, shut up and do what you're told. If he'd gone out there and done that, massive star. He's like borderline top 5 stars in the UFC if he then wins a belt. But now the Jeff Neal fight, dead. MVP fight, dead. He's going out there yapping, saying that he's on the level of Anderson Silva and GSP, and he's up there with Pereira for the best leg kicks in MMA. And yeah, he's just going to boring decisions. So you got to back it up both in the cage and on the mic. You got to do work promoting yourself. You got to also, which he's doing, but then you got to actually do the work in the cage. Like you can't be fucking Mateusz Gamrot maxing and then being like, I am the best fighter to ever live in the sport. You can't be doing that, little bro. So yeah, Ian Gary definitely losing the potential, but he can still get it back for sure. He's still got that ability because he does have, the fans do hate him. But now the fans are going from hating him to kind of just not giving a fuck about him. So that's no good. But let's move on to another fighter. I never said I was going to be the first African champion. Never said that. Dricus du Plessis, definitely, no. What am I saying? He doesn't really have that much star potential. He's got a really fun fighting style, but I don't know, he just hasn't picked it up. Like, if they go to South Africa, obviously he's going to be majorly over there. But, TDP, I don't know, something about him, he just doesn't crazily draw the fan interest. I think the fans are interested in watching him versus Izzy alone, but would a Dricus du Plessis and Jared Cannonier fight draw? Would a Dricus and a Mavov fight draw? Even like a Dricus and Whitaker rematch, would that like draw crazy? I don't think so. I think it's mostly just like Strickland drew because of the build-up and Izzy's drawing. So I think this guy is relying on build-ups and like beef and stuff to draw the fight interest, but I don't think that many, like he's been the like B-side in all of his fights pretty much. Like Till was a bigger star than him, Brunson was more known than him, Whitaker was clearly the A-side, Strickland was the A-side, Izzy's going to be the A-side even as the contender. Like this guy's just never like the big star coming into the fight. He's always kind of winning, and then like people are like, damn, Bo's good, but I don't think people really care about him that much. Let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, Conor McGregor. Obviously, he's going top of the tier for top 5 stars in UFC. He is the biggest star in the company right now. There's no doubt about it. Without me, this whole fucking ship sinks. Conor McGregor, definitely. Bro, the amount of clips you'll see of this guy on your fucking Instagram, the amount of people that you'll see talking about Conor, it's crazy. Everyone wants to see him back. Everyone's asking Dana, when's Conor back? All of that. Everything this guy does draws interest. This guy could go to a fucking random, local, milk store or some shit. Goes to a local milk bar, and then there'll be, a clip of him saying, mate, what you talking about? The fucking price is clearly $2.99, yeah? Trying to charge me $3. You feel. And then there would just be some clip of that shit going around for, a week. Everything this guy, Conor breathes on camera, and it just gets views. Everyone wants to see this guy back in there. Everyone's memeing everything he does. Everyone's just talking about everything he does. Conor, clearly biggest star in the UFC right now. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up on the tier list, Sean Strickland. Here's the fucking thing, man. I don't even want to be a star, man. I fucking hate all this influencer bullshit, man. Sean Strickland, I don't even know what that impression was. Here's the fucking thing, man. Left lane, your fucking impressions are terrible. But I had to do it again, guys. I ain't stopping. Just like Poirier with the guillotines, bro. I ain't stopping. But yeah, Strickland, big star for sure. Losing a bit of it. People are getting a bit, I think some fans are kind of waking up to him. Obviously, there's still the brain-dead political fans that only care about someone's political opinions. But the people that are in it for the fighting, they are starting to kind of be like, all right, Sean. And a lot of the casual fans are starting to realize, hang on, I just came along to watch him fight Drickus. I didn't realize that before that fight, literally all of his fights were 5-round decisions in the Apex. So yeah, he's still a big star. He still draws interest, everything he does. You'll see a fucking new clip of Strickland sparring some dude every day of the week. But I'd say he could have had the potential to be top 5. And he still could be if he wins the belt back, maybe. If he'd beat Drickus at 297 with all that build-up, maybe. Maybe. But Sean Strickland, right now, I still think he's a very big star. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up, brother, I don't care about this shit. All these guys, they all influences bullshit, TikTok and this, brother. I not care about this. I here to fight, I eaty, I sleepy, I trainy, I belty, I win the belt, and then I go home. Fuck gods, brother. This is what the life is about. This is championship mentality, brother. Islam Makhachev, DC, big fat guy, brother. Golf don't burn 0 calories, brother. You don't even walk to pick up ball, brother. You drive car. Islam, Loki is funny as fuck. I don't think I did his impression justice. I think you have to be Islam Makhachev. You have to be that level of autistic and Down syndrome to actually sound the way he does. But no, he is definitely a star amongst the hardcore fans. Obviously, the casuals know who he is, but I don't think, people are excited to watch him fight, but I think more of it is because every time this guy fights, he's fighting a massive name. This guy's never having to do the heavy lifting on his own with a pay-per-view. He's fighting Poirier, he's fighting Volk, he's fighting Oliveira. When he fights Arman, it's going to draw hardcore interest, but are we going to see the same casual interest? Are we going to see the same social media push from the casual fans? Is that what's going to happen? I'm not sure. When Islam's the A side of a fight, because was he the A side against Volk? Maybe, maybe not. He was close. Definitely not the A side against Oliveira. Definitely not against Poirier. So how does this guy draw when he's not fighting a big star? Arman is not a big star. How's that fight going to draw? I'm sure it'll still do well because they'll stack the card. But I don't know. Islam's star potential, it is high. His star power is high. But I wouldn't say it is quite as high as some of the other people above him. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Tom Aspinall. Have you ever been fingered by an MMA fighter? Tom Aspinall, look, he's still... It's weird to say this because he's the interim champion, but I'm putting him in star potential. Because I do think that when we see this guy go out there, if he goes out there, thumps up, Curtis Blades KOs him, round 1 in England, we're going to see a massive reception, and this dude is going to start to become a big star. Right now, he's clouded by the casual fans of being obviously Jones is the champion, dude. That's what they're sounding like. But he became a pretty, he got to this level on the tier when he fought Pavlovich, because before that he was only really fought a couple times in the Apex, and then he was fighting in England. But the Pavlovich fight definitely got him the American audience, definitely got some eyes on him. And if he goes out there, thumps up Blades, and then his next fight after that should be definitely in America, because you can't build a star just having them only fight in one country. You got to send them everywhere. We saw Strickland triple his fucking star power when he went to Australia, thumped up Izzy. Like, you gotta send him everywhere. You gotta get more fans. Like, Strickland goes to any fucking country. He can go out there and say, here's the fucking thing, man. I'm gonna bleed for you guys, man. And then they'll just jump on his dick. Like, that's what you gotta do. You gotta get Aspen like they're going, I don't want to be some kind of harp chain from the UK, but, you know, I love to fight in America. I love the fans over there as well, you know. Tom Aspinall, yeah, he's got the star potential. He's got the style for it. This dude's KOing people inside minutes. He's, like, just killing the guys inside a round every time. So, yeah, he's got the style to build a fan. He's got the, like, style to build up a big, like, just to build up a sick highlight reel as well. And that's important, you know. You can't be Balal maxing and just, like, getting takedowns on your highlight reel. Like, if the UFC fucking PR team is putting, like, you shooting double legs on your highlight reel, it's wraps for you. So you got to get some knockouts on your resume, and that's what Aspinall's got. Let's move on, though, to the last fighter. Last up, Paddy Pimblett. Mate, what are you fucking talking about, lad? I swear to fucking God, I'm a fucking superstar, lad. They don't fucking know how much I draw, lad. Conor McGregor ain't got fucking shit on me. Fatter than that or what, lad? Paddy Pimblett, look, I probably shouldn't have him this low. Maybe he should be in star potential, but I feel like we've seen it. This dude co-main evented a pay-per-view, won a robbery decision, and then since then he took a year off and then fought Ferguson. Like, I feel like no one really cares. Like, in England, sure, he's got fans over there. So I'm not saying this guy can't have fans. Or, like, there's people that like him, there's people that don't like him, but I feel like people have become more indifferent about him. Not as many people just hate this dude anymore, which is, like, part of being the star. I think if Paddy was ever going to be a massive star, maybe he still could be. You know, I just put him here because I got to even it out, and I wanted to put a recognizable name on here, not just some random person. It's like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, like Corey Sandhagen, no star potential. Like, I could have done that, but I wanted to put, like, a kind of bigger name. So Paddy, in America, I think we've kind of seen it. I just don't think they care. His last two fights against Gordon and Ferguson, both in America, and I just don't think people have really given that much of a fuck. I don't think he's drawing that much interest. He's clearly not going to be a top 10 guy. I think he's going to lose to Bobby Green, even if he wins that. I don't think he makes it much further. Maybe just flukes his way to top 10. But I think you can't really be a star outside the rankings. Like, you can be if you were once inside the rankings, like a Diaz or a Ferguson or one of these guys, but you can't build up, fail to get to the rankings, and then be a massive star. It just doesn't work like that. So yeah, Paddy, I'll chuck him down here. But that is the video done, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know what order I'm going to post some videos. I'm kind of just stockpiling videos right now because I can't post because I got a guideline strike because I reposted Conor's fucking tweet because he posted a picture of a dead person and their, like, face was blurred out, but you could see blood on the screen. So I posted that, and unfortunately I forgot that you can't just, like, it's not Twitter and you can't just post dead people. So unfortunately I got a guideline strike. So I assume you guys will be seeing this about a week after I recorded it, maybe 5-6 days. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Leave a comment saying fuck YouTube as well. See if they give me another guideline strike. But yeah, that'll be it, guys. What other videos do you want me to fucking do? Let me know in the comments. Follow my Instagram as well. Yeah, peace out, guys. See ya.